How does he keep doing it? It's the summer of 2026, the biggest stage in the world, and a 38-year-old man, an age when most players are long retired, coaching, or sitting in a studio talking about their glory days, just walked onto the pitch and scored 3 goals. A hat trick at the World Cup, at 38. The commentators run out of words, the stadium doesn't. And somewhere in the crowd, a kid who wasn't even born when he won his first trophy is screaming his name like it's the only word he knows. Lionel Messi. Again. So let's actually answer the question. In the next 8 minutes, the whole story, how a boy who was told he was too small became the greatest the game has ever seen. Because to understand tonight, you have to go all the way back to the beginning. Rosario, Argentina. A skinny little kid with a ball glued to his left foot. He was different. Everyone could see it. But there was a problem. He wasn't growing. The doctors had a name for it, a growth hormone deficiency. The treatment cost $900 a month, money his family simply did not have. His local club couldn't cover it. And just like that, the most talented kid anyone had ever seen was about to slip through the cracks. Then a club in Spain heard about him. They flew him in for a trial. And the story goes that the coaches were so convinced, they offered him a contract on the spot, signed on a paper napkin because nobody had anything else to write on. That club was Barcelona, and that napkin changed football forever. But the fairy tale came at a cost. At just 13 years old, he had to leave everything he knew, his friends, his family, his entire world, and move alone to a country on the other side of the ocean where he barely spoke to a soul. He was painfully shy, desperately homesick. For a long time, the tiny genius hardly said a word. The talent was never in doubt. Surviving the loneliness was the hard part. They paid for his treatment. He grew, not much, but enough. And inside their academy, La Masia, the boy turned into something nobody had a category for. He made his debut at 17. By 21, he was the best player at the biggest club in the world. By 22, he won his first Ballon d'Or, the award for the best player on the planet. Then he won it again, and again, and again. He didn't just score goals, he embarrassed entire teams by himself. He picked the ball up in his own half, and by the time he was done, half a defense was on the floor and the ball was in the net. People stopped comparing him to other players. They started comparing him to the laws of physics. And then he did something that had never been done before. In a single year, he won 6 trophies, every competition his team entered. 6 out of 6. A perfect season, with a team so beautiful people would watch them just to feel something. By the end, the numbers stopped making sense. More than 800 career goals, over 40 trophies, 8 Ballon d'Ors, when nobody else in history has more than 5. He scored goals that simply should not have been possible. He'd glide through an entire team like they were traffic cones, the ball stuck to his left foot as if it were tied there. Defenders didn't just fail to stop him, they fell over trying. Grown men, world-class professionals, left sitting on the grass, staring into space, wondering what on earth had just happened. But every hero needs a rival, and his arrived in the form of a chiseled, jumping, screaming machine of a man named Cristiano Ronaldo. For 10 years, these two split the entire sport down the middle, one all power and hunger and noise, the other quiet, impossible, magic in his feet. Every award, every season, it was Messi or Ronaldo. They dragged each other to heights football had never seen. You loved one, you argued about the other. Nobody could look away. At his club, Messi won everything there was to win. Leagues, Champions Leagues, more Ballon d'Ors than anyone in history. But there was one shadow he could not escape. One thing that turned every summer into heartbreak. His country. Because for all the magic, Lionel Messi could not win with Argentina. And in Argentina, there is a ghost. A man named Diego Maradona who dragged the nation to glory in 1986 almost by himself. That was the standard. That was the bar. And until Messi did the same, the whispers would never stop. He's not really one of us. He left as a boy. He could do it for Barcelona, but not when it actually matters. 2014, the World Cup final. Argentina, 90 minutes, and then some, from the top of the world. And they lose. Messi, named the best player of the entire tournament, walks past the trophy, eyes down, like it physically hurts to be near it. Then he loses the next final, and the one after that. 3 finals in 3 years. Each one a fresh wound. And in 2016, after another defeat, he did something nobody saw coming. He quit. He looked at the cameras and said he was done with the national team. The greatest player alive. Walking away from his own country because the pain was just too much. But here's the thing about the truly great ones. They come back. He returned. And slowly, the story began to turn. In 2021, he finally did it. Argentina won the Copa America, and Messi won his first major trophy with his country. Grown men wept. He fell to the floor. A weight that had crushed him for 15 years, finally gone. That same year, the impossible happened somewhere else. After 2 decades, his fairy tale at Barcelona ended. The club couldn't afford to keep him. And at the press conference, the greatest player they had ever produced sat down, picked up the microphone, and broke down in tears before he could say a single word. He moved to Paris. A new shirt, a new league. It never quite felt like home. But it was never really about Paris. It was about one last mountain. Qatar, 2022, the World Cup. Maybe his final shot at the one trophy that had defined his whole career by its absence. And an entire nation held its breath. Argentina had not won this trophy since Maradona lifted it, 36 long years earlier. A whole generation had grown up never once seeing their country on top of the world. And they had placed every last ounce of that hope on the shoulders of a 35-year-old man, the one this tournament had hurt more cruelly than anyone alive. And he was magnificent. Game after game, he carried them, all the way to the final, against France, against a young force of nature named Kylian Mbappe, in a game so insane it barely felt real. Argentina ahead, France level. Argentina ahead again, France level again, extra time, penalties. And then, it was done. Lionel Messi, world champion. The ghost of Maradona finally laid to rest. The argument finally over. He lifted the trophy into the sky, and an entire planet exhaled at once. The greatest player of his generation now had the one thing he'd been missing. There was nothing left to prove. So what does a man do when he's won everything? He went to Miami, a smaller league, a calmer life, the victory lap he had absolutely earned. And the city lost its mind. Tickets tripled the moment he signed. Pink shirts with his name sold out across 3 continents. Presidents and movie stars started showing up to watch a soccer team that, months earlier, nobody outside the city could name, and within weeks he'd won a trophy there too. Because of course he did. We all assumed that was the ending. The slow, gentle fade out of a legend, somewhere warm. We were wrong. Because here we are, 2026, 38 years old, and he just put 3 past a team half his age on the biggest stage on earth, like the last 20 years were nothing but a warm-up. So how does he keep doing it? Maybe it's not really a question about talent. Maybe it's about a kid who was told he was too small, who heard every doubt, carried every loss, cried at every ending, and kept coming back anyway. The napkin, the needles, the 3 lost finals, the retirement, the tears in Barcelona, the trophy in Qatar, all of it, leading to a man who simply refuses to let the story end. So let me ask you the only question that matters. Is Lionel Messi the greatest of all time? Or is there still an argument left to have? Tell me below, and I'll see you in the next one.